We're actually going to lean over more into this story about the illegal alien who got deported back to El Salvador. And this Democrat Rep. Richie Torres claims any American could be abducted, deported, and tortured at the direction of Trump. Zero factual basis for this of any kind for this type of claim. However, this is what these Democrats and legacy media continue to allow, this type of fear mongering. They continue to allow this, and to induce the brainwashing into the American people. It's utterly ridiculous. My fault, y'all. Let me get y'all right.
Republican skeptical that we will have Republican support because the Republican Party is fully captive to Donald Trump. But of all the abuses of Donald Trump's presidency, there's no greater threat to liberty than his complete contempt for due process. Without due process, what stops Donald Trump from wrongfully labeling any American as a non-citizen gang member and abducting them in the dead of night and rendering them to a foreign prison to be tortured? Donald Trump's actions set a dangerous precedent for our democracy. And so I'm introducing legislation known as the Rescue Act, which would seek to secure the release of those who have been wrongfully deported. If there's a foreign leader like the president of El Salvador who refuses to comply with an order from a federal court to release someone who's been wrongfully deported, there should be geopolitical consequences, and those consequences should be swift and severe. It should include the suspension of relations with the United States and the termination of foreign assistance.
Wow. Yeah, I heard him. Word for word right there. This guy is claiming that, people, first of all, why are we trying to take care of other countries and other people outside of America first? Listen, I'm not saying that we should not have some compassion or allow people to come here to live the American dream. This is what America is built for, right? That's what we advertise it about. But you come here illegally, dog. Ain't no, oh, you know what? Let me just, I feel sorry for you. Nah, bro, you broke the law. Fear mongering is just going to continue to ramp up because they can't get their way. Even the president of El Salvador came and said that there's nothing that he can do. Tom Homan, though.
Increased border apprehensions by 95% since last March. Can you describe maybe some of the success behind these numbers?
Well, she's basically asking about, I don't know if you guys can hear, but she's asking him about the border numbers being down since March. And, he's going to tell you, and then asking what he has to say in response to that, what he think attributes to that. Mind you, the first guy that we just heard talked about how bad Donald Trump is, but listen to this.
Because I worked for the greatest president of my lifetime, Donald Trump. Trump 45 is successful, unprecedented. And we're even doing better this time. President Trump, I give him all the credit because he put executive actions in place day one. He re-implemented the policies that we proved were effective. Right now, as we speak today, because of President Trump, the men and women of ICE and the men and women of the Border Patrol who stand on that line every day, today we have the most secure border in the history of this nation. No one can argue it. The data's clear on that. I started in 1984. I've never seen the numbers this low. So again, the most secure border in the history of this nation, President Trump was able to do that in a matter of weeks.
Yep.
Something that Biden administration didn't do in 4 years. Either wouldn't or couldn't, but we proved it didn't need legislation, didn't need all this other stuff that the last administration talked about. We needed a strong president who took America first and cared about American safety and securing that border. Securing the border at this level means we have a lot stronger national security because of the border.
Amen to that. And this proves to you that the last administration was completely incompetent, or they were just unwilling to actually solve the problem, which makes us go, for what? But then you have Donald Trump who come in and do some declassifying of some documents, and we find out, oh, these guys are accepting money from enemies. In addition to that, that they had planned to try to rush everybody to citizenship in order to go ahead and get them to take away at the polls. And we also know that people have their socials and all this other stuff in order to get their IDs in order to actually vote illegally. Oh, wow. Why is my ear ringing? Oh, wow. Yeah, my ear is ringing out of nowhere. I don't know what that means. Anywho, let's continue. We have Karoline Leavitt right here, and she's saying Trump will be signing an order barring illegals from obtaining any Social Security benefits.
The topic of Social Security, I have some news before I let you all go. Later this afternoon, the president will be signing a presidential memorandum aimed at stopping illegal aliens and other ineligible people from obtaining Social Security Act benefits. The memorandum will direct the administration to ensure ineligible aliens are not receiving funds from the Social Security Act programs. It will expand the Social Security Administration's fraud prosecutor program to at least 50 U.S. attorney offices and establishes a Medicare and Medicaid fraud prosecution program in 15 U.S. attorney offices. The memorandum will also require the Social Security Administration Inspector General to investigate earning reports for individuals aged 100 or older with mismatched Social Security records to combat identity theft. And the memorandum will direct the Social Security Administration to consider whether to reinstate the use of civil monetary penalties against individuals who engage in Social Security fraud, an effort that has been paused for several years. These taxpayer-funded benefits should be only for eligible taxpayers. And President Biden should think about what he did in his last term, which is allow tens of millions of illegal people into our country, many of whom were fraudulently receiving these benefits. So,
yes. Responsibility definitely, accountability, I'm sorry, is definitely had for the Biden administration. But come on, it's 2025, y'all. This is America. We're in a place where we're talking about and debating or having to put in place policy to stop illegals from voting. Well, I'm sorry, getting their Social Security, which ultimately leads to voting. Now, y'all know where this is going anyway. And y'all sit here and take up, hold on. Hit two. Ooh, y'all know we allergic to the BS. Y'all sit here and take up, and talking about BS that I'm allergic to, y'all sit here and take up for Biden and that administration all day long. Would never point out the obvious sinister plots that they've partaken in, that they've initiated. More Tom Homan right here, man. What borders are, Tom Homan just said, should be music to every American's ears.
I think, you want to make this, if anybody here in Watertown, you Democrat Party want to make this a political fight, well, here's a political fight. We did in 3 weeks what Biden didn't do in 4 years. Right now, as you and I are talking, right now, we have the most secure border in the history of this nation, and the data proves it. And when you secure that southern border at the record we have right now, down 95%, how many Americans aren't dying from fentanyl coming across an open border that Biden had? How many women and children aren't being sex trafficked across that open border? Now we got a border secure. How many non-inspected terrorists or people on watch list are not coming across that border because it's secure? How many billions of dollars is the cartels not making because that border is secure? President Trump's policies, this administration is saving lives every day. The men and women Border Patrol save thousands of lives every year. This administration is doing the right thing for the American people, securing the border, removing the worst first criminal aliens, and looking for 300,000 missing children that the last administration released to unvetted sponsors. We're going to save those children too. So you can make this political attack all you want. I'm proud of the work of this administration. I'm proud of the work that the folks that work for me are doing.
Yes. The left can continue to try to bring this man down and try to descend the efforts and the accomplishments that they're making at the border. Y'all can try all day. However, it's not going to stop what's the good that's coming, which is the prevention of all of these potential threats to American society and American people. I meant to say America. But yeah, he brought up some great points. The fact that we're at historic lows, but CNN would never report that unless they have to report approval ratings and stuff like that. I mean, they don't ever want to report on stories like this. Shout out to Tom Homan, though, for giving us the good fight, though. Senator Kennedy is delivering more common sense. He reminds the deranged left that if you are in this country illegally, you are a criminal.
If you're in our country illegally, you're a criminal. Illegal immigration is illegal, duh. And I think there are plenty of laws which President Biden ignored that allow us to deport you. I mean, to me, it's just straightforward. And people who oppose that approach, it seems to me, are not being intellectually honest. They just ought to go ahead and admit they support open borders.
Yep.
If you're,
that's all they really. Come on now, like how are you watching these stories, man? Countless angel moms losing their kids to illegals. Then you got the nerve to make the claim, oh, well, you know, even if illegals weren't here, that type of crime is still going to happen. I'm not saying that it won't, but you're saying that you're okay with making the chances of it ramp up even more, given the information that you have. You're okay with that? Nah, man, I ain't willing to take that gamble. Somebody writes, dear leftists, unless you leave your front door wide open and are willing to accept anyone who walks in and let them live with you, you are lying about your stance on illegal immigration. P.S. Not only that, but then pay for everything for them and give them spending money too. Somebody wrote right up under that, this is what we need to keep saying long and loud. If you are here illegally, you are a criminal, period. Trump needs to deport all the illegals so that they stop stealing our taxpayer money, and so the Dems can't rig future elections. I can't believe they made me say that. Anywho, if it seems like Trump wants to do it, but he knows the rogue judges will block him. So we see what the sentiment in the comment section is like. Hold on, what is this right here? Okay, cool. But anywho, we're going to close this out with Tom Homan blasting the Democrats for defending that MS-13 gang member that recently got deported. And they even went on seeing that they had brought his wife or girlfriend or lover, whatever, on CNN to kind of like guilt trip Americans into trying to bring him back.
Tom, how do you respond to these Democratic lawmakers, including Van Hollen, who say they're going to now ask for a meeting with the president there in El Salvador? They're going to travel there and demand his release.
Hey, the president of El Salvador just came here and said, hey, that's not happening.
Well, good luck with that. Caroline Leavitt is exactly right. Every time I read a story about this, it's Maryland father. They don't mention he's a member of MS-13, who is a designated terrorist group, one of the most violent gangs in the world. They don't mention he's an MS-13 member. They don't mention he's an El Salvadoran citizen being held by the country of El Salvador. No. El Salvador makes that decision. Now the courts said we got to facilitate. We'll facilitate, but El Salvador has full authority on this. Again, a terrorist threat. Now, if somehow he comes back and that happens, he's going to be detained and removed again. He's an MS-13 gang member based on our intelligence and El Salvador's intelligence. He will be detained and he will be deported. But what's the sense of bringing someone back to simply go and face deportation again? He's a public safety threat. He's a gang member and he's a designated terrorist. We should not be bringing any of those people back to the United States. That's my opinion.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Man, I don't get what the uproar would be when you have the full context of this situation. Does the left, like, do they really enjoy him? Like, are they really for America? Everything that they do seems to contradict that idea. You want us to give free money to people who are here as criminals. You want us to treat criminals like documented citizens. Giving them schools and hotels and free food off of the tax money that you taking from me. There's no excuse for bringing terrorists back to the U.S. to somehow. It's just no excuse, man. I'm sorry, I can't even think of nothing else. Y'all be safe. Go check with somebody today. Quite literally to be saving their life and yours, for real. Also, thank you for the like, comments, and shares. It's greatly helpful and truly appreciated on this channel. Be safe.